Hey everyone, so I'm going to show you how to make the pizza dough for our pizza for the virtual dinner party this week. And it's a little bit, not complicated, but it's a time-consuming process. You need to start it about a day and a half early. And so what I have in here is about 14 3/4 ounces of all-purpose flour, or bread flour is better if you can find it, but all-purpose will work. And I have yeast and also 2 tablespoons of oil and 1.5 cups of water. And so it's a pretty wet mix, as you can see. I just mixed it up, and then you cover it with plastic film and let it rest for about 10 minutes. And then once that's done, you're gonna add your salt to it, and that's about 2 teaspoons. And you're just gonna mix that in. And this is kind of an unusual dough because it's really quite wet. And the reason that it's wet like this is it's gonna go through a really long rise in the refrigerator, which is gonna hydrate the flour more, but it will produce a really tender crumb and then a really crispy bottom on the pizza, which is something that I like. But you're gonna mix that salt in well, and then again, cover it with plastic film, let it rest for 20 minutes, and then you're gonna turn it out and do a light knead on it. And it's a little bit difficult to knead because it is such a sticky dough, but put the teeniest bit of flour on your board and then turn it out. And I like to use a bench knife. If you don't have one of those, a spatula will work just as well. But then just put a tiny bit of flour on your hands, not too much. And then I just take my dough, or my bench knife, and I'm just kneading the dough lightly like this. And if you've got a little bit of sticking, you can toss a little more flour in there, but you want to keep it at a minimum. And so I'm kind of doing more of a folding motion where I'm just like flipping it over. And see how that's getting a little bit sticky. So I'm going to put a little more on my hands. And I usually do that about 25 times. And then one thing that I have found really helps is to put a little oil on your board. And then that last turn, get it in the oil. And that kind of helps it not stick quite so much. And I can work it more into a ball. Once you get that done, you just scoop it back up, and then I put it back in the bowl. You're gonna cover it, and you'll see that it's still pretty sticky. You're gonna cover it, and it's gonna go through a rise of 12 to 16 hours. And then once that's done, you'll see it looks like this. And then the next thing that you do is you just get your pizza pan ready. You can use a pizza stone, or you can use just a regular pan, or even a sheet pan will work. And then I just turn it out on my board, and you'll see how it's got those nice bubbles. And then just really gently, you're just gonna spread it out. And so the dough is cold now, so it's a lot easier to work with. You'll see it's not quite so sticky because the flour has become hydrated. But I like to work it out to a nice thin crust. And once you've done this, you're gonna let it rise for about an hour before you put your toppings on. And what we're doing tonight is we're doing fig, blue cheese, and arugula, and then fresh tomato, basil, and mozzarella. And then I like to bake it in the barbecue because it doesn't heat up the house, but you can certainly use a 450-degree oven. Super easy, but it turns out a great pizza. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks.